Hello again, welcome to a rainy summer's day in the Netherlands. I thought I'd start out with my view from my working table. It is not that bad, isn't it? So, hello, welcome, this is Maud again, and today I wanted to show you how I make old envelopes out of, let me take you down. These are the envelopes that I showed a while ago on Instagram, about a week or so ago. And I've bought these digitals from Taylormadejournals. I am not a great fan of digitals normally. I don't use them for collaging as much. There are so many beautiful digitals out there, but I guess for me it's kind of a little bit difficult to work with them. But these two sets, let me show you. There are two sets of old envelopes, and I love old envelopes, and I know where I can get them in Amsterdam. But with COVID and everything, I don't want to go to Amsterdam. And besides that, the envelopes are €2 a piece there. And that is a little bit steep for me. So I thought I wanted to try these by Lorna from Taylormadejournals. And they are perfect. Let me show you what they look like once I have glued them together. On the inside they're still white. And I'm using just 80 grams normal copy paper, just normal copy paper, nothing special. And if you have even lighter copy paper, that might even be better, because the lighter, especially these would be really light paper. So if you have that kind of really light paper, it is perfect. And if you distress them, then by all means, you know, wrinkle them a little bit. I abuse them, because an old envelope would look like that, right? And well, to show you to show you what I'm using to make these, it's nothing special. It's a bunch of glues, and I'm really happy I was able to buy the art glitter glue here in the Netherlands about a week ago. This is the collal glue, and it works perfect. But to me, it is too strong. It smells like nail polish remover. And that's the thing I do not really like. The art glitter glue doesn't smell, so that's perfect. I use one dabber. I am lazy. With two distress inks. I've got, this is really becoming old. I've got Vintage Photo here, and I've got Ground Espresso. And my trusty glue stick. I like to use Brit, but I know many of you have your own favorite glue sticks. Perfect. Yeah, I'll be right back. I'll put this camera so that you can see what I'm doing. And hold on a minute. I'll be back. I'm back. I wanted to show you, well, I already showed you two front pages of the envelopes, and even these small envelopes will be usable. I've drawn some flaps on this one, but let me first show you the really big ones. They come like this if you print them at 100%. And as you can see, there is a little bit of a wide gap here. Some of them have a wider gap, and some of them are, well, turned. But I'll show you how you can fix that and use those. These are all printed at 100%. And, well, there are quite a few here already. So I thought, to make this video, I'm going to show you how I make them as large as they come. But you can, this one is also really the normal size, and the white gap here is rather small. This one I printed at 70%, So I also like some smaller envelopes to use in my journals, and well, I like to have different sizes to work with. This one I printed at 60%, still very usable. And this one is upside down. The white gap is just really small, so I would just, you know, yeah, draw some flaps here like this. They don't have to be perfect, not at all, because you won't see any of these parts. And I would just, you know, glue this to these flaps. I will show you in a minute how I do that. But yes, I wouldn't mind that this would be upside down on the other side. Sometimes that is a little bit different, but I'll show you. These ones are at 50%, so they become quite small. It's yeah, it's this one. So you see it becomes a bit smaller, quite a bit smaller. I wouldn't go any smaller because you've already also got these ones, the really small ones. We could do them also. And well, here are this is an envelope that you could not well, you could just flip it, but then you see here the edge where it is torn open is a little bit slanted, as is the back side. And so this I would do differently than just making the flaps. I have got a similar envelope already, and I've got it in two. I will show you in a minute how I will assemble this envelope, because you also see that there is a little part taken out here, and I will take that out once I finish the whole envelope and make that whole look real. And this is one at 50% that I will just cut out and flip. And to show you what I mean, I have already prepared an envelope that is at 70%. You see there is a white little gap, but it will be okay. We will distress this gap and you won't even notice that it's there. So I've got all the envelopes printed here, and they are really nice, especially the stamps also. And some of the stamps I also have. These small ones I could not place a real stamp on, but these big ones, where are the big ones? You could put a real stamp over it if you like, and it would even be more realistic. But they're okay with the printed stamps as they are, really. I've asked Lorna if she was okay with me doing a video, and well, she said you didn't have to ask, but I find it, yeah, working with somebody else's product, for me it's not possible without their permission. That's just me. I will link her Instagram and her Etsy shop down below, because she's got so many beautiful digitals. But well, if you want to get these, I will link her Etsy shop and her Instagram down below. So to show you, well, this is the easy one, because I will just fold the flaps, and not trying to be too fuzzy about it. You see what I did, right? You saw my little drawing of these flaps, and once you cut them out with the scissors, they are really easy to do. And then you just fold it in half again. And can you see them? I'm left with a little white border on both sides. I don't like that, so I will cut that off really carefully so you don't cut the flap off, because I did that also. But just cutting these slithers off on the other side as well. This one is big, so cutting it off is good. And here on the top you also see a little bit of white, but we'll distress that, so that won't be any problem. And also you see a little bit of white here, but we'll distress that and it will be okay. At the moment it's just a little bit of flat paper, and if you would just leave it like this, you would see that it is a copy. But we're going to glue the flaps just with a little bit of glue stick, both sides. And be careful not to put glue stick on there, because otherwise you would not be able to put anything inside the envelope. On the inside I don't mind that it stays white. If you don't want it to be white, you have to distress it before you glue it. You could do that, of course. And now I'm going to distress it, and I'm not being careful with wrinkling it. Not being careful at all, because an old envelope would be very wrinkled. And that's why also you need the thin paper, because it wrinkles. If you do this on cardstock, you would not get the wrinkles. And you see, this is what makes it look a little bit more realistic. And I'm going to do the back as well, and especially everything that is white I will distress heavily. There's this little white at the bottom, and I'm using my distress on it, and you would never know. Corner, you know, work it, make it look ugly, because that is what makes it look real. So here you have it, the first one. It's really easy, and if this bothers you, well, put a little dab of glue there, because that is what glue stick does. Sometimes I can't get it to the corners. But this is the first little envelope. The second one, so I was not able to flip it right away because it was upside down. But that doesn't matter, because, well, I've also made some flaps using my pencil. They were not very neat, but cutting them is sometimes more easy to do straight than just using the pencil. And I will fold these again also. This envelope is at 100%. And now I have to watch it so I don't glue it upside down again. But there is this little, you see this little corner that will probably be a tear in the real envelope. So I know I have to put these two like this. And is there a little bit of a white edge? Yes, there is again. You see it here. So I'm turning it again and seeing where I can take some of the front of the envelope off without, you know, it being too awful for the result. And I think this is the best part. But with this one, I'm first going to glue it, because it's not I don't think it will work if I cut it off like this, because I don't know exactly where to cut it. Okay, so first gluing it again. And the kind of glue that you use for these projects, well, don't be too fussy about it. It doesn't matter much, I think. But yeah, don't use the glue that buckles the paper, I think. I mean, these glues don't. But if I would use some regular white glue, it might... You see, I'm a clumsy person also sometimes. Okay, where is my... Yeah, you see it is here. So this is where I need to glue this part. And this part is probably the most important part, because I want to get this right. So I'll glue this on here, turn it, and then glue that part on as well. And now really carefully I'm going to take off this white border. You know what I did? I cut so much off of another envelope that I cut this through, and then the flap did not work anymore. I had cut the envelope. Well, I could glue it again, obviously. And now you've got like 2 openings of the envelope. And I like to be the opening at the top. So here I'm just going to use a small bead of glue, because, well, in the end, nobody will notice that there is this small bead of glue instead of a flap or a fold, right? Glue goobers. I like that word, but I don't like the actual thing myself, but hey. The glue will probably come out a bit, and that's why I use my paper towel, so I don't get glue all over the place. And now it is a pocket like this one, only this is glued instead of folded. So probably if you put a paper in here, it can only come down to here, whereas here it can come down to here. But hey, fold your paper again a bit. You don't, no problem. If you see this again, compared to this, this looks like a printed piece of paper, and this is starting to look more real. So we have to distress it again heavily, and not worry about it creasing. We want it to crease, and especially the corners would have been, you know, have become dirty over time, and if it tears a little bit, that's okay. A little, no, I wanted to take this part out, so I'm going to just do that with my scissors and crumple it up again. And well, now there is this little tear that was in the original envelope also. Distress it, and it looks authentic, doesn't it? At least I think it does. I would so happily use these in a journal with, you know, some journaling cards inside, or just a piece of vintage paper inside, or a real old letter. I don't have any real old letters, but if you have them, that would be perfect. Copy them and distress them like I'm doing with these, and it would be perfect. So now this one is looking vintage also. And it also, because it crinkled, it also feels more vintage. It feels more real. I gave this pile to my husband and I said, look at what I got. And he was looking at them like, I know you haven't been out, but where did you get these? And then I told him to look inside, and then he knew that I had been playing with, you know, normal new paper. And you can see the folds here, obviously, and well, the glue stick is coming off. So I have to, the corners, sometimes you have to use some stronger glue. But then he knew, and then I also knew that they were perfect to play with, because if he couldn't spot the difference at first, then, well, they are perfect for our journals, right? And I love to use this, I think it's a Tim Holtz clip, to keep them together, make them look real. The last thing I wanted to show you was making a really small envelope from the cover pages. I don't always print the cover pages, but with these ones I already thought, well, hey, I can use 8 of these to make really small envelopes. So let's cut this one out. I have already drawn the flaps. This makes it so much easier than to use the really big paper to cut everything out. And for this I'll probably right away use the art glitter glue, because, well, the nozzle is really small and that is so nice. If I would use the Pritt stick, I think I would glue it all together just like that. So this is a really, really small one. And so the gap is not visible at all. There are many printouts that have no gap at all, so you can easily just cut them like this and fold them over. Oh. This is the tiny, 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 tiny work. And fold it like this. All the way to the top. Sometimes they're not straight. Never mind. You saw me cutting off edges. You can always do that. Doesn't this one look great? So tiny. I will put a little bit of glue on these flaps. And that's all there is to it. Perhaps with this one I have to take care that the glue, yeah, it's okay. Yeah. And now distress it again. I had my ground espresso here because there were some envelopes in this pile that I needed to do with the espresso, the edges. But I've re-inked my pad and it works great again. When do you buy a new pad? Because I've had this for 2 years now and I'm re-inking it, and sometimes I'm thinking it works great and sometimes I'm thinking, nah, the re-inking does not work great. But what's your experience with that? I would like to know. there is this little white edge. There you have it, a really tiny envelope. So this is 100%, this is 50, you can see it, it's almost half, and this is the one from the cover page. So I hope I made things a little bit clearer to you, to how I work with these digitals, and if you give them a try, please also tell Lorna at Taylormadejournals. And if you would like to show me what you do on Instagram, you can find me there under my name, Maud Hiemstra. There's not another person with that name, so I was really lucky that nobody else had that name. I can use my own name. And thank you again for being here, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye!